Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the UKEL. We are on to week 4, and we've got our first game between Mythos and Peak Esports. I'm Will Viper Whittingham. I'm joined by Harry Dr. Evans, and we're going to be taking you through the first couple of games today. And Harry, it's been a while. We haven't cast together for a little bit, so nice to see you back.
How long ago do you reckon we last casted together?
I reckon Demacia Cup at the end of last year.
It would have been something like that, yeah.
Because then we went into off-season.
Yeah. And then, coronavirus took out the LPL, so that one wasn't going to happen.
The official wasn't happening. Square One started late, and we haven't cast together in that yet. UKEL, we haven't.
Whose fault is that, Will?
Kind of mine. I scheduled. We are on together this week, though, for Square One. So
are we?
A bit of a
wait.
Yeah, we are.
What day? Because I'm not free.
Oh, you clown. I feel like it was the day you said you were free.
Was it Sunday? Yeah, I'm not free Saturday. I'm at the opera.
Oh, what opera? What's the...
Not a good one. It's my housemate's. She's on musical theatre.
Wait, so you're going to see someone?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. So you're just like supporting someone, so it's not actually kind of thing. Well,
it's apparently not a tragedy of comedies, but a comedy because it's such a tragedy.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
that's
apparently it's not
quality.
Good.
No,
so we're all very excited.
If you want to talk about tragedies, we can just look at your predictions. But like,
okay, but that was like really uncalled for. But I think that was. I actually did nothing to you.
I was legitimately, real talk, was gonna say we can look at the Sarge's predictions, but like I have like a weird like toxic relationship where I just constantly go at him for just random stuff. He got in defense stuff. He's not here.
It's actually just straight bullying. Like
it is like full on just bullying. But I mean, I'm at the top. Twitter's second, so shout out to everyone at home for coming second.
What's the score for Twitter?
Twitter's on 9. Twitter's...
Okay, so I don't even beat Twitter, even if I had my real prediction.
Yeah, because you didn't do first week. So...
I missed week 1, and then I sort of made them posthumously, completely forgetting how the games worked out, and I got 2, which checks out anyway, because that's like 50%, so I could have coin flipped that. But I'm still not even beating Twitter with a 50 with that boon, so...
I mean, you might catch up with me today, because we've got a couple of differences. Ironically, you don't believe in Bulldog. Which is
no. So there's an interesting thing about Bulldog actually.
Okay.
They are no longer running, and I think this is not correct on our list, but they are no longer playing with Rosalina,
the jungler.
Interesting maneuvers there. Yeah, Rosalina. So Rosalina will still be playing for the Belong squad and for the University squad, but not here in the UKEL. So I still don't know. Like we have no idea how Bulldog are going to work out in this one. Like how good Fortel is going to be, but. I still think that Viperio are probably better. Yeah.
Fortel is a Baltic. I believe.
Huh? Is that a name that means something to you?
I think they play in Baltics. I'm trying to remember. Because I think I've cast Fortel or I've watched Fortel this split. So that means they either play in the Baltics or Square One outside of this. Because it really, really rings a bell. Let me know. Chat. Who Fortel plays for, but that's quite an interesting maneuver because I think a lot of people, the comments on Bulldog were a lot about Rosalina kind of getting exposed in the jungle.
A little bit.
And so I guess that's, but the fact that they've changed up their jungler and you've decided that that's changed up means they're not going to beat Viperio, who are currently 0-3.
Is Viperio really that? Every time I look at the Viperio roster, I'm like, okay, this lines up. Wait, Viperio are playing Rapidex this week?
Have you been bamboozled?
I thought they were running Divinus. Okay, this is not good news. Oh no.
Okay, excellent.
My predictions have really gone down. Oh no. This match would have been very important to me if Divinus was playing, because Divinus is my support in Belong, and we play Bulldog this week. Oh, so it's like I've got to get.
That's pretty spicy.
They're London or whatever they are there. So I've got to, this would have been excellent scouting opportunities to watch that game. I swear that Viperio did well in their one game with Divinus last week.
Oh, okay, so apparently Fortel plays for Roehampton, I'm being told. Thank you for the update. So we're on to our first game, which is also a game that we've got different opinions on as we do dive into picks and bans, because you predicted Peak would win this one.
I will not lie to you, I don't remember any of my predictions.
Oh, Harry. This is going to make it worse when you beat me.
I've got to look up the table, okay.
Both of these teams are 2-1 right now. Peak coming off a defeat.
What is this picture of me?
Last week. Oh yeah, I don't know why your picture is so like. Did you give the picture?
No, okay. So here's the thing: the picture was gotten, but I think it was Omni got it, the admin, and They like, I have no idea how they found this. This is from the finals of Compete League, like 3 years
beautiful,
ago.
to be fair.
I was
Very
meditating on something, but
it's very doctor-like.
I can't believe I'm worse than Twitter, even with like if I had an actual.
Well, Twitter's second currently. Like, Twitter's actually be doing work. And,
Oh no.
But yeah, you predicted Peak to win this one. I predicted Mythos, but we are into picks and bans, so we can kind of start talking about the compositions and stuff when they come through. But we're on 10.4. Quite interestingly, what's your kind of off the press take on
Jungle difference?
Just jungle difference still? Is that the?
Okay, so there's something real spicy.
Okay.
That apparently is a thing. This patch. This is again according to Divinus, which was according to Viper, I think. So lots coming through here. Apparently, what people are doing on this patch is playing things like Sejuani and Zac, these tanks with a little bit of magic damage, and then you do the sort of old Season 4, Season 5 Gragas type build, where you go Runic Echoes into Sunfire Cape instead of just building the Cinder Hulk. I've tried it a little bit, and it actually feels quite nice. If it's actually going to be picked up in any of the games today, I'm not sure, but that could be something a little bit spicy to keep your eyes open for.
It would be interesting. The Zac has been banned away, so Peak might be knowing this kind of stuff. I think the rest of the bans are pretty standard, not anything too surprising if you've been playing 10.3, 10.4. The Syndra lock-in first as well, not too surprising, I would say. It's been prioritized around and about, so interesting to see that one picked up. What's the response here from Mythos, do you think?
Oh, obviously Leona's still available. Pretty juicy champion that everyone likes to see. Also, Zac was taken away, but there are still tank junglers available. Never mind, Olaf picked up very early on, which is a bit of an interesting one. Obviously, Olaf not someone that can really abuse the new Cinderhawk, but can abuse the champions that build it. But to blind pick an Olaf very early on, I feel like this just really opens up opportunities for Vega to either lock in the Jarvan or even the Trundle, two champions that are going to do real well against that Olaf and can do a great job of negating. We also saw last time that Peak were up against a Olaf in week 1, Alcove Andy actually flexed really hard with an Anivia pick. So maybe we take this Syndra down into the bot lane, put that one with Liam, and then you can get something like that Anivia in the mid lane again. Just work as hard as you can to deny out this Olaf.
With the Ezreal being picked up, is there a Yuumi kind of... Is there an onus on Peak to pick up that Yuumi? Because Ezreal Yuumi is such a strong bot lane, and leaving it available would mean that Mythos would be able to pick up that, or do you just leave it and hope that they go for something else and then ban it out?
It is a pretty disgusting combination, of course, but the fact that you've picked an Ezreal with an Olaf makes me think that Mythos are trying to kind of slightly sack off their bot lane a little bit, because Olaf wants to play very aggressive early, and yeah, he does want to go for those drakes, but he's also maybe trying to move up counter jungle a little bit, invade to get some damage down and so on and so forth. Blind picking an Ezreal does put you in a situation where you're very open to being able to get something with a little bit more wave clear that could run you down, something like the Senna, and something to just keep you a bit more under your tower. And then that's not really going to synergize well with that early pressure Olaf.
The Amumu is Senna, for everyone wondering. That is a proxy pick. So, yeah, that's going to be the Senna down there. Do you think that could be the support? Do you think that's probably suggesting that the Syndra will go mid? Or do we not have enough information yet?
Yeah, it's a little bit flexible, right? There is the possibility, and I think that this is a bit too recent for Peak to want to try this one out, but if anyone was watching Cloud9 play in the LCS, this week, they actually had a strat where they played Senna Tahm Kench because, they're insecure, but then, they actually just had the Tahm Kench just played like carry. So it was Sven, the ADC, playing Senna, but he took the tribute item, the Spectral Sickle, Tahm Kench going Doran's Ring and farming up, and then the Senna is just able to constantly stack with the souls even after getting a few. I think she actually got some buffs to the support style of Senna, and you still build damage. You still build the same thing, but you just get like 100 souls at 25 minutes. So there is a possibility that you could go for something a little bit spicier like that in the bot lane with Peak. Although you do want a melee champion as the support in that matchup, so maybe you don't pair it up with the Syndra.
Going into second round of bans, as you mentioned, the Anivia from Alcavandi has been banned away alongside the Cassiopeia. Poppy as well being taken off the table for Mythos, so they're not going to be able to pick up that one, presumably in the top lane, because you've got your solo lanes left for Mythos. Peak, we don't really know what they're doing. We assume the Jarvan's in the jungle, but past that, they'll have to pick a top lane, unless the Jarvan's doing something flexible. But then the other role, it's kind of, is it support, is it marksman, is it mid? What's going to be the... well, it won't be marksman, you've got to imagine, because Senna or Syndra will flex down to G2 Liam in that bot lane. But interested to see what will go down. The Mordekaiser being the last ban away, and it's going to be Diana picked up. Now, that is throwing a bit of a spanner into works. Do you expect that mid? Because we've seen it in the jungle a little bit as well, but with the Olaf already on the table.
Yeah, I mean, you could play the Olaf top if you really wanted to. I think it's a bit more likely that's just going to be a Diana in the mid lane. And that's a nice, strong champion. She's got a pretty decent early game. It's still something that I think you could struggle with wave clear if you're up against something that's a bit more of a sort of ranged mage type situation. Syndra isn't perfect for it, but she does fit that kind of description. You know, as you're thinking, if you're a Diana and you try to dash in on her, she's just going to push you away. It's pretty safe for the Syndra there. And it's really important that Mythos look to get a strong mid laner when they have this Olaf and pairing that up with the Ezreal Braum, who are going to just completely sack off bot lane. Yeah. You want to make sure that you have someone that can get that push going, that can really be aggressive. Yeah, you'll probably bring the Braum up to roam because it's really safe to leave the Ezreal alone down there. But at the same time, I think I just like something... there could just be something a little bit more in the mid lane. However, Diana definitely does have the potential to take over a game if they're able to set up that pairing enough.
Yeah, we've got the Thresh and the Gangplank being locked in, so that kind of gives us a picture of where Peak will be going. Syndra most likely going to be in that mid lane with Gangplank top and the Thresh at support for the Senna. Now the top lane is going to be the counter matchup that Mythos have decided for, unless they're flexing stuff weirdly. It's going to be the Fiora for Daiku up there, so now that we've got a picture of these two teams, we're just going to have to be a little moment while we get the proxy pick sorted out and everyone's going to run through, but... What do you think of these two drafts? If you can remember them, they're not on screen.
I already don't. I've already forgotten. Okay, yeah, what did we have? We had...
Okay, top lane matchup. Fiora going into Gangplank. What do you make of that? Let's start there.
Okay, this is pretty decent for the Fiora. That was the final counter pick, right?
Yeah, that was the counter pick for Mythos.
Yeah. So think about this.
Unless they're flexing stuff weirdly, it's going to have decided for. Unless they're flexing stuff weirdly, it's going to have decided for. You are unless they're flexing stuff weirdly, it's going to have decided for. Unless they're flexing stuff weirdly, it's going to have decided for. Unless they're flexing stuff weirdly,
and there is a very tactical reason for that. That is unless the camera to hide my bed.
Oh, because you haven't made it, have you?
I have not. I recently got home, so it's not that bad actually. It really could be a lot worse, but
nice.
A lot of swaps going on here. It's literally just a loop. Okay, I understand. Okay, yeah. So, Gangplank Fiora, that's the one. The thing is that the Fiora can break the barrels really easily. She can run down a Gangplank really easily, and her Q range is almost the same as Gangplank's Q. So Gangplank does get a lot of early harasser when you get the Grasp procs off, and especially when he goes and comes back with a Sheen. But once you start to get the Tiamat as the Fiora, you're going to be able to push him in quite well. Once you get a little bit of lifesteal, even just the Vamp Scepter is sort of enough. You can live through his sustain for his harass. You get some tabby. It's basically real easy for the Gangplank up until sort of like level 9 or something like that, around about there. And then Fiora is literally just going to keep you running you down, maybe even earlier, because at level 6, Fiora gets a real life ultimate, whereas Gangplank sort of just gets, you know, the cannon barrage. It's strong, yeah, you can throw it down bot lane, but it's only going to stop Fiora engaging onto you one time, and she's just going to have the grand challenge up before it is. So it can get a little bit rough there.
Talking about it being jungle diff is the conversation we had, or the comment you made at the beginning of the
every game's
game.
jungle diff.
So what's the jungle diff here? We've got Real Vega on Jarvan 4. We've got Forshaw coming in on the Olaf. Who's favoured in the matchup? Both decent early game junglers who want to get a lot done. Who are you favouring here?
So it's a bit interesting because these are both what your boy LS would refer to as Sinner champs. Which is a new concept going around, which is that they rely really heavily on other people making mistakes, which is very much how League of Legends works, so I'm not too fussed about it. But it does sort of... It's interesting because they are both just really going to fall off, right? It's sort of like the Olaf falls off really hard and he has to get a lot going on early, and if you play safe enough, that's not going to happen. Likewise, with the Jarvan, he's a very strong early game jungler, but yeah, he's not comparable to a tank like a Sejuani or a Zac as you go later into the game. If he's not able to get an early snowball going, he's not too useful. The good news is they're against each other, so it sort of checks out. But in 10.4, there was or 10.3 even, there was a big change to the sort of jungle XP, and that benefited power farmers quite nicely, and that's going to be champions like your Karthus, your Nidleys, and importantly, your Olafs. Jarvan cannot clear as fast as Forshaw, so yes, he can counter gank well. He can force ganks a lot easier, especially when you have a Syndra and a Thresh. He can force ganks a lot easier than the Olaf can. In the team fights, Jarvan will hard counter the Olaf, but if nothing really happens this game, if Vega isn't able to get enough going, there's going to be this point in the mid game where Foreshore has just completely full cleared like 15 times in a row and is a full item up on Vega, and there's nothing Vega can do there. Vega can drop a Cataclysm, and that's it. Yes, that's what you want the Jarvan to do later in the game, but preferably at some point in the game, Jarvan is still going to be relevant. At 50 minutes, yeah, it's just Cataclysms to stop the Olaf. But if that's happening at 20 minutes, that can be a bit rough.
Just as we're counting down, of course, there will be a little bit of delay because we are on live servers, so it's going to be 3 minutes getting into game. Oh, excellent. Love that. So, apparently we are going to be getting into this one quite quickly, but I had a question, but I've completely lost it. Well, okay, this is it. This is it. I was going to talk about the bot lane, because you mentioned it about how they're kind of just sacking it off. Is this the kind of thing where we've seen a little bit where the Ezreal kind of just ends up being a lone bot quite often and it's just kind of sad? Or is it the kind of thing, and the Bromlack then goes off on his jollies with the Olaf and makes plays? Is that what we expect to see here?
Pretty much. So obviously, Ezreal Braum is the original Sanya Tamkench, or the original like Ezreal Yumi. You know, it's very safe because Ezreal can sit 2 miles back. If Braum ever gets in any sense of danger, he can jump back to the Ezreal, who can jump further back. They can really bail each other out. But yeah, Ezreal can just sit miles away and you can send the Braum off to roam. There is a little bit of dive potential, obviously with the Jarvan coming down and CC on both the Senna and the Thresh, cover that with Lantern's way to save each other. It is a very dangerous situation to be in as the Ezreal alone under your tower. But I feel like if the Braum is off roaming, especially with Mobies, you can sort of set up enough vision that you see the dive coming a long way away and he can just come back. You know, it's pretty mobile. Unless you're like you've recalled and you're now trying to roam top to set up for like a, I don't know, something to get like an earlier Herald or something like that at like 15 minutes after you've taken the first one. So you're not wanting to swap your bot lane up there, but you are wanting to get something done up there. That could be a bit dangerous, but I think as long as Mythos set it up well enough, this should be pretty safe.
So the final question, the standard question going into the game, you predicted Peak to win this game in our official predictions, but now that you've seen the 2 drafts and you've seen what people are playing, do you want to change your mind? Are you still on the Peak hype train, or do you think Mythos might be able to come out and take this one?
Oh god, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Mythos, right? They have this sacked off bot lane, and then you have the Olaf that really has to sort of hard smurf with the Fiora. It's a lot easier for Peak. I feel like you have the sort of scaling Senna, the scaling Gangplank, a Jarvan who will completely negate Foreshore at some point. I think if Peak can sort of shut down the early attempts by Foreshore or just try to get some early leads, this should be pretty simple to go their way. But of course, this is an important matchup. They're both tied right now in the standings, seeing it's 2-1. So it does stand a lot. And much more importantly, it's all about the predictions, you know, if we take a second to look at those.
True.
I am closer to Sarge than I'd like to be. And frankly, the fact that I had... if I got this right, I would tie with Governor. So that's very important, all right? I'm very upset that I'm at the bottom of the I'm very upset I'm below Twitter. I'm much less upset even that I'm at the bottom of the colors. But if I could at least tie with Governor off this game, that would be nice.
Because Sarge is a color and he's one lower than you right now.
True.
So you're not bottom, but like you are
safe.
You're down there, so like you need to pick this one up. We're going to see pretty standard starts, of course. Peak on the blue side, Mythos on the red, and both junglers starting on the bot side. Like, where do you, as a jungler yourself, where would you be looking on these 2 junglers as like the first gank port of call? Where's like the most optimal place to get the game rolling?
Well, for Foreshore, that is anywhere that is not bot lane. So once we've got that one sorted, you're good. Obviously, your Olaf, you just want a full clear. Like, actually, on this patch, here's what you do. You full clear, take a crab. If you are worried that you might not be able to contest the crab, you just recall and then take the other one. And then you full clear again. And then you recall again. And then you go Drake. And you go take the dragon, you set up for it at 6:30 with your bot and your mid lane, pushing on that cannon wave. You get the dragon at 7 minutes. Quick recall, we all head over to the Rift Herald. And that is something that the Olaf is going to have a much easier time with than the Jarvan. So we'll see, actually, what is Jarvan doing here? He's going on for a cheeky little invade. He's level 2. He's got double buffs. Let's not invade any Olafs that have cleared faster than you, hit their level faster than you, and are strictly a better champion in the 1v1. Maybe not optimal. So again, right now, there's a lot of pressure on Vega as the Jarvan to make sure he's getting early ganks out. And whilst he's faffing around trying to make them happen, he is just falling very far behind in terms of farm. We see that 3 camps, almost 4 as the chicken. No, wait, I can't count. Almost 5. Look at the speed on this man as he goes through the Krugs. Sorry, for the chickens. Meanwhile, Vega not even finishing off the Grump yet. So pretty rough times to be the Jarvan in this situation, but he does have a little bit of prio in his lanes to contest at this crab, but Forshaw might change that.
Forshaw's trying to look for a gank onto Alcove Andy. Petetsalat is on the same page. Alcove Andy chase towards that bot side. Gonna be chased down by Forshaw actually, and there's not a tower in the jungle to save him. Forshaw getting a couple of undertows. Doesn't want to overcommit to this one though, but is forcing a decent chunk out of the Syndra, which is just gonna help Diana in the long run, really.
Yeah, and that's interesting to see what Vega's trying to do here, because that was a pretty decent opportunity to get a free crab.
Daiku going very low in the top side, but
Flash Q.
Flash Q from Curly Fry surely will secure the kill he's looking for. You can see.
No, she's fine. It's too late. It's too late. The pots, the biscuits, they've ticked up enough. Now the Olaf actually moving on forwards. No parry available for Daiku though. Parrying away that last parlay.
Oh, Curly Fry needs to be careful. Has overextended there. Daiku has to flash away though. His Gangplank will be in trouble. Forshaw flashing forward, getting the damage, and one more undertow will be the slow that he needs.
Jarvan.
Jarvan's coming up to try and save. Teleport going down into the mid lane, but Forshaw has been knocked up, gets first blood anyway, and now Daiku feels safe enough to rejoin the fight. Real Vega needs to be careful and will be cut down by Daiku on the Fiora. That's 2 early kills in the top side for Mythos. Excellently played.
Yeah, lovely little bait there from Daiku. Holding out the parry to make sure that you're not getting chipped out by those grasp procs on the Qs off of Curly Fry. Bait him into the dive, bring in your jungler, pick yourself up a nice kill here. And this goes back to what I was molding about earlier. Not really molding, but the Jarvan in the mid lane gank runs through the whole mid lane situation. We just see everyone dies here. It's pretty simple. He runs down to the mid lane and faffs around. You think, if whilst that's going on, you know that Andy is either dead or alive and there's not a lot you can do because he has to run down. So if you take the top crab that's given to you for free there, A, it's free money that you really need in this matchup, but B, it very much would have seen a lot of that gank come and give you the movement speed to help you get up and match the gank faster. It would have been pretty useful. So this is sort of one of those situations where something that, even though it was sort of like, you know, a minute ago, has actually made a pretty big impact later on into the match. And we see now that is a double kill for Myth. They're getting the snowball going in the Fiora versus Gangplank matchup, which is absolutely huge if you can help Fiora through the rough early part and just accelerate her, get her to the part where she wins it for free, and you're getting extra gold onto the Olaf, who's just trying to keep farming and try and take control of the game. But now we actually see an attempt at a dragon solo coming out from Vega, which is a little risky because Forshaw is in the area. But
that also has to be very careful. The Ignite coming down onto the Dana will mean the solo kill for the Syndra. It looks like Real Vega might actually be going down to Dragon. He's taking a lot of damage. Might have to look for a way out, but a smite will be enough. Gonna be able to pick up that. Nice little play there from Peak to get a solo kill mid and to grab the first objective.
Yeah, a lot of level 6s just coming up during that fight. I think Andy and Petetsalat were both aware of that. So we see why Petetsalat was a little scared there. But that dragon should just not have happened for Peak at all. I think Forshaw was on the bot half of the map. He's playing Olaf, so he's the one that should be... Oh, that's a stun!
Onto G2 Liam. The stun comes down and so does the kill. That's going to be Chrislet with the first one of the game in that bot side, and looking pretty good down there right now.
Yeah, that's not supposed to happen in this match. Like, no one is supposed to die. Senna Thresh, real safe. Ezreal Braum, real safe. Also, real quick, they are doing the C9 strat from this weekend where you put the support item onto the Senna and you let your beefy support take all the farm. And the way that's pretty nice is then the support goes in, you're getting extra harassed because, you know, if the Thresh gets gold, he can get tankier, so he can engage, so that you can start to chip down with Piercing Darkness and with the roots and whatnot. But pretty rough to go down in this matchup. Now Curly Fry getting engaged on a little bit, and Daiku is level 6, so this is the part where you really start to get scared as the Gangplank. He does have the Cannon Barrage to disengage, but if you're taking that one away from, from the Myth, where it could potentially be dropped in the mid lane, you are still happy. You are still happy if you're Daiku in that situation.
Looks like Diana and Olaf are moving up towards that top side. As you say, Rift Herald will be spawning up pretty soon, so trying to get some control in that area. Ooh. Here comes the Cannon Barrage just to clear out the wave a little bit, but Fiora still might have a little bit of time on that tower. Olaf coming up for the invade, but Fiora's just going to help a jungler out. This could be a blue buff being taken over as the pause timer comes in. It wouldn't be a cast for us without...
Oh, quick, pause the stream! I missed it. Oh, no.
I'm confused.
I was trying to pause the stream so I could actually see the state of the game. On the monitor. It's fine. We can clip it, lads. All right. I'm safe.
But yeah, Olaf going into the jungle for Fiora, but like, why don't you take the run over the like first few minutes of the game? Mythos obviously with the kill lead, but that cheeky little dragon that was taken up, like, as you say, shouldn't have happened.
Should not have happened at all, because Olaf has just a better solo. His bot lane didn't exactly have prio, but you can still walk up and put like a ward down or something there, because that was a completely dark area of the map, because the Ezreal Braum were a little bit under tower. But he just sits on that bush, on the blast cone, waiting to make that gank happen for the entire time that Veigar is soloing it. And yeah, Veigar soloing it makes no sense, so why would For Sure expect it and, you know, be worried about trying to get wards down something there? But I think it's still a decent enough idea. Just go down, drop. He had a pink ward on him. I think that wasn't his. That was in the.
Look at this, Mr. Joe on production.
It's just the fact that he was just sat there, not really accomplishing anything, waiting a long time for the gank. And as the Olaf in this matchup, the way you win is just by power farming and getting the occasional counter gank off or something, getting the occasional fight, because if you're trying to match pressure, if you're trying to force ganks like the Jarvan does, then you're just making it even. But if the Jarvan is trying to force ganks and not succeeding and you're power farming, you will just straight rocket through that and get an absolutely huge lead. So it's kind of like why try to beat the Jarvan at his own game in that type of way. Yeah,
and I mean, For Sure's been pretty successful on that, as you say, and that one dragon aside has been putting down pressure on the top side initially, and you can see it now on the minimap, is moving in to take that blue buff with no one being in the area to contest. But is this what Mythos are wanting? Because obviously you look at the two team compositions, you see there are scaling options on both sides, but you say that Peak have a easier scaling composition to pull off. Are Mythos far enough ahead where you'd say they're maybe in I won't say a stronger spot, because they've got the gold lead, they've got more kills, it's kind of, they obviously are doing slightly better at the moment, but is this a case of, are they far enough ahead?
I mean, this is a really good situation for Mythos. This is exactly what they wanted, right? They have, like, just literally looking at the minimap right here was the game plan in a nutshell. You've got your mid lane pushed up a little bit, let's ignore the fact that she got solo killed, and then you have the Olaf in their jungle, Gangplank forced out of lane, has to ult the wave, you know, Fiora coming down. This is exactly what you wanted setting up for the Rift Herald, right? But there is a bit of an element of how does the scaling come into it, right? Because obviously this Senna is just getting 3 souls right now. I'm not sure how many she's on, so we'll keep an eye out for that one when we get back into the game. But she's just absolutely stacking up. Same with the Gangplank. The good news is, as Mythos, you have a Braum who is going to be real good. So you're on 32 souls. Thanks, Joe. 32 souls at 8 minutes, that's a lot. So you're going to get to 40 at under 10 minutes. You can be at in this situation, you can well be at 100 at 25, or maybe even at sort of like 23 type situation. That's real good. You're hitting 100 souls when Ezreal's finishing his Muramana. Muramana is meant to be a massive spike for the Ezreal, but you're like almost outranging his Q. So, you know, you're not at all. It's not that much range, but it's a lot of range. So that's pretty nice. 75% free crit chance, we take those. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity for Peak to still keep on scaling here, but the Braum is going to be a big problem. It works really well with the Olaf because he can jump on in. It's going to stop it. It's not going to stop the Olaf from falling off obscenely hard, but it's going to extend the amount that Olaf can run in because he has the backup in that situation. And it's also Syndra, not a champion because you got an Olaf. Likewise, the Senna, I think Senna can shoot through him, but he can at least block her ult. And I think I actually have no idea how he interacts with Gangplank barrel chains. So that would be a fun one to find out in the team fight.
I'm just kind of looking over the teams right now, and honestly, the Senna fresh thing I really like. The idea of like having your support coming in, getting really beefy with the farm, and it's the fresh is ahead on farm right now to the Ezreal, which is, you know, is a little bit peculiar to see, but I'm excited to see where the next fight. Where do you think, if there's going to be a fight, do you think there's going to be a big contest around Rift Herald, or do you think this is kind of Mythos secured in a sense right now, just on the way that the map's looking?
Well, we're going to find out like 3 seconds after the pause finishes, because Mythos are getting good control in and around this top lane. You know, obviously they've got the priority, they've blown the Gangplank ult, they've taken away the blue buff, which is real nice to have on the Olaf. Set down a little bit of vision, that's a nice pink we can see behind the Olaf there as well. What's going to matter is if the bot lanes are swapping or not. We see a synchronized recall coming through from the Senna and the Thresh. So what's important is, okay, are they going to move back to the bot lane or are they going top together? Because right now in bot lane, it's just an Ezreal. They've got 5 plates. They are not risking a lot if they go up for that Herald, and this is literally the perfect time to do it. If they both go up and we see that Ezreal Braum aren't really prepared to match that, yes, they can look to contest that Herald quite well, because they're just going to have a straight numbers advantage. But on top of that, Fiora is not really in a situation where she can completely run people down. You know, this is not a warrior Olaf. It's not the part where you have to be really spooked as a sort of Senna or Syndra here. So there is definitely a chance that Peak can hold on to this Rift Herald right now, if that's the move they're looking to make.
It looks like they've pinged onto the Olaf as well, which means that they do know he's there. They have absolute information on what's going on. They don't have vision of it, but they saw the Fiora go into the jungle. So does the Diana having some kind of pressure mid right now, does that help the situation at all for Mythos, or is it kind of irrelevant on that mid lane situation right now, just for the case of the Rift Herald fight?
Well, you can see the pings coming through from the Jarvan here, so the Diana having pressure right now doesn't matter, because like there's no way. Look, okay, obviously like Mythos aren't really 100% sure on where the Jarvan is. I think they can sort of guess from the fact that he's not at the blue buff. He must be on the bot half of the map. But Diana can push through the wave here quite nicely, and Syndra's going to catch that wave, and then the waves are going to reset, and then Diana is going to try and push for the next wave, which is the one that's going to be the Rift Herald will have spawned. You know, so when she goes for that, we can already see the pings coming through from Jarvan that he's going to be trying to get something going mid, because you can, even if you're not going to like kill the Diana or blow a flash or anything like that, you can at least push her away from the wave, and you can keep her off. You can keep her off that tower, lower that pressure, and make it easier for you to then walk through that area and go up and contest onto the Herald. Right here, we have the cheeky replay of Daiku going very low. You got to flash the Q. You can't flash after you've been slowed, mate. And then Vega, if only he already had the crab from earlier, would have been able to get here to this fight on time. And this right here is why I hate Jarvan. He EQs in, he is just dead. All of your damage, all of your CC is also your escape ability, so none of that's happening. And now we got a replay package. Joe Smurfing straight into the solo kill mid. Yeah, protect Salat. Taking a bit too much damage there, and if he was level 6, maybe you could go in and look for the all-in. And the bot lane kill as well. I forgot about this one. But I just not see how this happened at all. Oh, Liam just tanked the entire wave and a full rotation of abilities, and sometimes it really do be like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna, and we talked about this bot lane kill being something that kind of shouldn't happen, right?
I mean, like, okay, this matchup, like, no one should ever die. But right there, like, why would you step outside of the wave versus Braum Ezreal? It's all skill shots. Even, like, you don't need to be outside of the wave there. That's just very greedy. I think it, you know, not too happy about the scoreline there. It's like 0-0-0 with 0 CS. I'm the carrier, I need to do something. And then you sort of run it, and it goes a bit downhill from there.
Doesn't want CS, though, so he's on
it's ruined.
One.
Game's
it's
over.
Ruined. Game over.
No, it's a war, don't worry.
Oh, okay, well, we are still in pause, ladies and gentlemen. We are just waiting for a reconnect from the Peak mid laner. Just having that one sorted out, dude, as quickly as possible. But
my pizza is getting so cold.
Yeah, Harry made pizza like maybe 10 minutes before we were due to go live, 15 minutes before we were due to go live. Like
it was supposed to be it was supposed to be 15 minutes before we went live. I forgot. It's still slightly undercooked.
Behind the curtain, Harry was 15 minutes late for our sound test.
Oh, I was more than that. I was 20 minutes late. Well, we were supposed to be at 1:30.
1:30, but I was also 5 minutes late, so I was counting myself sometime.
Nice.
But like,
it's like when we were all late for the UKLC, and then Borge turned up like 15 minutes late. Like, he turned up like 15 minutes after the latest person, so we were like, oh yeah, where have you been?
Oh no,
we have been waiting so long.
We were so worried about you, and it's like we all just got that. Like,
oh, we're in game. Oh, no, is this a solo kill again? No. Yes, we're in game.
We're in game, ladies and gentlemen. Peak versus Mythos, and the blue buff is taken up, and now for sure, and Daiku might be looking for a little something, but no one's going to go in and contest, so nothing's going to happen there. And these players have a lot of time to think about what they're going to do next, so expecting some very planned stuff here.
The reset has happened. Curly Fry is now running down to hold bot lane. Doesn't have ult, doesn't have TP, not going to be a factor here. We can see Vega is lurking around the mid lane, and Lauai is doing the same. So that if anyone gets a bit too cocky when it comes to having any push or attempts to make anything happen here in the mid lane, there's a bit of backup. But now, Senna moving up. this is a contestable Rift Herald here. But this is pretty nice for Krislep. He's just going to get free farm in the bot lane. But actually, Peak are just straight up starting it. They're sort of hoping they have the element of speed on their side. But this is a pretty tanky Herald, and they are on vision. Ezreal's going to come through and snipe out to the Herald just to chunk it out a little bit. Nice guy. And the eye has opened. This is dangerous. And Vega.
Looks like it's going to be taken up by Mythos. Potential Salat gone onto Alcavani, taking a decent amount
no.
They want to engage onto the Diana, but Lawai is there, gets the start onto the jungler, who will instantly melt through. It's going to be the Braum picking up the kill. Rift Herald has also been picked up. That one's going to be for sure grabbing that one, and it was a brave play from Peak. Mythos completely turned it on its head.
Oh, that was a bit of a rough one. Peak, they tried to rush it down. They knew full well they were on vision, and then it's like, yep, we can't do it, and they bailed. Thing is, it was on 2.2k with the eye open. Hitting the eye, it does like 300 damage. Your smite is going to be like another 570. Just give it a go. Like, at that point, you might as well commit. And then we see Vega gets out, but then he kind of doesn't on account of the cheeky EQ flash. Miss it entirely. You're in the middle of two people with no ult. Let's get into the replay. Nice one. So you hit. If Vega, like, walks up, hits the eye and smites, it's like almost dead. Maybe you need a little bit more. Okay, so fine. You can allow that, but then bam. EQ flash in the middle of two people. It's a sticky situation. The ult, not necessary whatsoever from the Diana. Bit of flex value. But yeah, just a kill actually hand over there to Myth. They're pretty happy with that one. Get the Diana a little bit back on into the game after that solo kill.
Nice little play around there from Mythos, and now Krislep having a great time in the bot side just because he gets this gangplank, so there's no pressure on him. And he's going to throw the ultimate down, but it's going to be missed. Trying to get those plates down as well, but really able to poke Curly Fry out. And this is kind of, as you said, kind of what you want to be doing as the Ezreal right now. There's no pressure on you. Your support's able to just go around making plays and kind of having a great time.
I am Confusion.
Okay.
One more light explain. This man is rushing a dead man's plate. Understandable. You want them a bit like it's pretty decent.
He had a Balmy Cinder.
He did. I forgot about that part. So that's gone somewhere, and he's decided that he wants Dead Man's Plate instead.
Teleport coming in top. Daiku is there. There he's going to disengage. I was excited for a fight.
Who cares? But no, it's not ADC. It's Protect Salat. My mistake. But yeah, that's a rough time to teleport top lane when the dragon is spawning in just 10 seconds. But for sure is there anyway, and Peak not really prepared for this one. A little bit slow on the old moveroo here, and that one's just going to go straight on over to Myth. I think even if Peak were in the area, there wouldn't be a lot they could do to contest it. So back to one more light, being a bit of a fiend. Selling out the Bambi Cinder. K-Fry, did you just really lose your entire health bar over a cannon creep?
It would appear so, yeah.
It would appear that you lost your ult and an almost entire health bar over a cannon creep. That's not great, but he did get the creep, so it could have been worse. So, like, I get the deadbands for mobility, because you want to, like, get tanky and be able to run at people, which enables the center and things like that. And also, it helps you roam. But what also helps you roam, and it also makes you tanky and makes you run at people, is boots. And One More Light appears to have gone for the magical footwear, which is a bit of an interesting one, because that's not what you do when you're playing supports, and this man actually has income for once. So it's like even easier to get those mobies. I don't know if this is standard for this build, maybe I'm molding for no reason, but
I was gonna say, is it just a case of you want to be in lane longer because you're farming, so you don't want to have boots as early because you don't need them in lane?
Just gives combat stats because you'd never intend on leaving the lane, and like in this matchup, I feel like no, that can't be right, because this is a very skill shot reliant matchup. You really want
you really want to be able to maneuver around.
Like boots, I don't hate the boot rune. It's just weird for me to see a support with no boots. But again, he's not really a support. He's not like he's roaming to go ward. Maybe this is standard. But I feel like Tabby would just be like exactly the same as Dead Man's Plate, but you know, like 2k cheaper.
Curly Fry, they want to set something up on him, but they're not able to do so right now. They might want to extend. He's playing this one very safe, but here comes the Richard down in bot lane. Going to be giving this one to Daiku for sure down here as well. Looking to get some pressure down. And the dragon was taken off on the side as well. So Myth get the Cloud Drake. Ocean Drake will be the soul. And looks like we've got a bit of an engaged. Daiku wanted to cut down the gangplank. The ultimate has already been popped. And the flash over the wall will be followed by Daiku, who's going very, very low. Who's the first responder? It's Alcove Andy from the Syndra. but the Diana behind. Daiku gets taken down by the Hextech Hosepipe. For sure will fall as well. That's a double kill for the Syndra in the top side now. There's a decent fight going down. Krislep needs to be careful, staying behind the minions, putting some damage down of his own, but no kills traded on up there. Very well played from Peak to clear out the enemies on the bot side. Here comes the cannon barrage, but Ezreal able to just shift out of that one, and very well played down there from Peak, and they completely neutralize what was going on.
That cannon barrage was almost real good because it stops Ezreal and Braum running, so you can try and take them under the tower, but Peak unfortunately not able to push through that cannon wave. But that fight, I've never in my life seen a flash max range, like tip of the corner flash hosepipe kill. So that's an interesting one. But if you're a teleporting bot, I thought there was maybe a cheeky flank going on there, but just catching a nice fat wave. TP, it's kind of rough to not have that one because you've got Herald and Dragon spawning, but it's this is the part of the game where you can still teleport. There's no bounds. So this is how the Fiora gangplank is meant to go. You sort of run him down, and then 15 people come through, and then at this point Diaku loses his entire health bar with parry up. So I think he does. No, he has to have had vision on the Jarvan because Forshaw is right there. There it is, flash, delish. But I feel like Diaku would have seen the Jarvan coming because Forshaw was on the other side of the wall. He definitely had vision, and it's a lot more damage than you expect because it's the barrel combined with the Cataclysm at the same time. But if he parries that, the fight is completely won because you are just going to insta-kill Curly Fry. And then you've got this Jarvan sort of stuck in there with you. Yeah, the Olaf can't do a lot other than slow him, but your Fiora, you can run him down, or at least escape, so it's 1 for 0. But because of a little bit of greed on the parry with Diaku, ends up getting that juicy 2 for 0 and getting kills into Alcove Andy, which is real nice, because Alcove Andy really needs to... It's a pretty nice pick to have the Syndra versus the Olaf, because when he ults, he gets real squishy. But, of course... Oh my god, Liam!
G2 Liam taking so much damage, going to be instantly removed. No death sentence there from one more light. The first tower will go down for Daiku on the bottom side as well,
no.
I don't know, he knew that Olaf was there, he had information.
Every time I look at Liam, I'm like, oh, he's fine. He just dodged the skill, and he just runs into 7 things. That's not good. Speaking of running into 7 things...
The fight is going to pick up, though, and here goes Andy going very, very low. Going to be shut down, but in the Cataclysm, we've already taken down 1. Lauai will go down for 2, but here comes Protect Slat on the Diana, able to jump forward onto Real Vega. Going to be trying to get away from that one, but I don't think he's got... Oh, he does get away! No dive on the table there for Diana, doesn't have the dash available. Pretty even team fight is going to end 2 for 2, but this gives Mythos all the time they need to probably get this Rift Herald.
Yeah, they're going to be able to pick that one up. Nice and simple, but they'll be a little bit slow on the rotation for the Ocean Drake, so we'll have to see how that one works out. But let's just watch the fight. We've already got a very dead Senna in this situation. Alcovandi in a sticky situation, but Vega is able to come through, get a nice double knock-up, get the combo off. I'm not sure. Yeah, the ult did go through from the Syndra, and we see that's why Laui is so low. One more light picks off kill, but Patet Salat is here to clean up. Of course, it is just a straight numbers advantage because your Senna is already dead. Vega getting the nice knock-up on the EQ, I think actually stopped Patet Salat being able to get that auto through. Don't know if it would have been enough. It's not like he has a Nash's Tooth and didn't have the passive stack, but still made a difference. But there it is, because Mythos spent so long doing the Rift Herald, they were not able to reset in time for the Drake, and this one should go on over to Peak, but Mythos are looking to contest.
They've got members there. The Oliver's coming through from the Ezreal. It's going to chunk down Liam, but the Dragon will be secured by the Fresh, and a nice double stun means that a fight could be in their favour. Protect Salat really wants to chase onto this one. Teleport coming down, but G2 Liam once again not in the greatest position and will go down. Daiku with that one on the Fiora, and Mythos lose out on the Dragon, but they do take one. They've got Rift Herald. What are they going to do with it?
I'm going to drop it in the mid lane, apparently.
There it is, yeah. A question answered.
All right, we did it, boys. Going to try and slap down this tower. They should have a pretty simple time of doing this, but they are lacking a little bit in terms of wave clear, and Ezreal not the best tower taker, so we have to see. They will get the second charge, but are they going to be able to get any damage off it? No, they will not. In fact, they're just going to walk away and see if anyone can defend this top lane. The second charge not even going through, but Curly Fry not able to threaten that top tower in a big wave there for Daiku.
But it was a decent fight coming up from Mythos. Once again, G2 Liam, just left adrift in the pit, not able to get out, and kind of just accepted his fate, I think, honestly. And are you happy trading the Dragon for a kill in mid tower?
Well, Liam is worth nothing. But I feel like no. Well, the Drake is important, and in these games, the Drakes have been very close. Liam could have got out, but one more light through the lantern to go, I think it'll save Andy or something. Maybe not Curly Fry. A lot of damage there. Ult was available for Daiku, so there's definitely a chance to run him down. I think he's not 100% certain where the Jarvan is, but he does have the Goon Squad coming to back him up. But yeah, if I'm not 100% certain on what the Lantern was there for. It was there to get out Vega or Andy or someone on the sort of top half. I think maybe Liam was sort of expecting it to be used for him, and he goes down quite quickly. But the dragons are becoming very important because you think once you get to 3 up, I just want to talk about dragons. Cuddy Fry, get dove already, man. Like,
there's no way.
He knows this is. Look at that ward. He can.
He's aware.
He's got pure terror. Why are they like just?
You're right.
Like
you okay?
They can see Andy.
Chat, LA.
We'll chat. My support is trolling. Thanks, Joe. So they can see that Andy's coming for the play, but it's still 4v2. Yeah, they don't have a wave, but you can just walk out, take and just hold that wave away from the tower, and yours can just walk straight in. But they're saying, no, we're not going to risk it. We don't want to throw too hard here. Let's keep moving. What is truly disgusting about this game, I've just realized, is that the Ezreal is 4-0-1. Ezreal Braum versus Senna Thresh, and the Ezreal has gotten 4 kills and a bounty.
That's not how you potentially expect that to go. I think Mythos showing a lot of signs of what we saw from them last week, where as a team they do tend to be a little bit more risk averse than some of the other teams we've got in the UKEL, which on the one hand does mean that plays like that can be a little bit of time wasting, but on the other hand they don't tend to make some of the more int plays that we do sometimes.
I was going to say, it was you saying risk averse the way of saying they're not running it down, because risky plays, in my experience with UK League of Legends, does not mean calculated risky plays.
Oh, sometimes not, but at the same time, you look at a play like that where they've got 4 top and they decide against it. They put resources into making that play happen. They'd moved up from the mid lane. They had people there just standing around and not getting experience and stuff when nothing came of the play because they didn't pull the trigger, right?
I was going to say, well, like what play?
Well, the play
Nothing
that
happened.
the dive that could have happened.
I saw no play, but game has gone to a bit of a sticky situation here for the viewers, at least, as there are no outer towers for Mythos to take, and a lot of people get very confused in this situation. So now we wait for dragons, all right? And this is why those dragons have become important. You think if that ocean had been secured by Mythos, then they would be in the position to make this into the spooky 3rd Drake, because once you've taken the 3rd Drake, suddenly 4th Drake is an option, and then the game gets very terrifying. It's kind of weird in that regard. It's like, well, when you get the 4th Drake, that's when it gets scary, because there could be a soul. But when you have the 3rd Drake, that's when it gets scary, because there could be a 4th Drake. And now we're in a situation where there could be a 2nd Drake, which could be scary, because there could be a potential 3rd. So Dragon's going to be pretty important here, but both teams are looking towards the Baron, because there is no 3rd or 4th Drake right now. It is only 2nd. And if the Dragon is chosen by one team, Baron should be pretty free for the other.
Well, I mean, there is a 3rd Drake. It's for peak, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're not getting it, King. That's not happening.
I mean, I think that yeah, you know what? I'm seeing the control. They are moving down towards it. They might be able to contest. I don't think they can start it up, but they're in a position to fight, right? Yeah, I see there isn't a top tower there, but
they will. That one's not going to live very long.
They have committed members to try and contest this dragon, and Salat quite happily pushing on the top side. They could try and force a fight 4v5. Is that a decent fight for Peak to take? I
mean, they're not that behind. They just kind of are. And now everyone from
the dragon
has backed away, despite the fact that they have a teleporting top. Well, this is very
Dad has teleported into the pit. The rest of Peak the dragon is going to be stolen by for sure. Laobai being taken pretty low though in the fight is in the pit. They managed to take down one already, but that's a big Centerrot taking down one and putting the other out of commission. Curlyfry running forward trying to get the kills, but Chrislip's untouched in the pit. Going to go onto Liam. The amount of damage coming through Alchem Andy, the only one left, will be able to stun up the Ezreal, but it is going to be forced away. Excellent play there from Mythos. It looks late. They get the dragon though, and they get 4 kills.
Like, why am I even doing so bad in predictions? I told you, never a peak dragon. I have no idea what happened with Mythos there, but they suddenly got very spooked that they didn't have Bib prior, but it's like, hey, your top lane is pushing. He's, like, for free, he can teleport down, get into a juicy replay of this one. I have no idea how the steal worked either, because I swear for sure was not that close. So they all back away for nothing to go get a mid prio in a lane that has no minions in it. Here comes Chief. He literally flash smites that one away, times it perfectly with the Q, and then Diana's here to go and clean it up. There is a chance for Peak right here is we're going to see a really big stun comes through from Alco Vandy. That's the power of the Braum, blocks the entire ult, but it sets up for a nice stun. And when that comes through, big barrel there from Curly Fry as well, you think maybe something can happen, but Liam is a little too zoned out from the Fiora earlier on, so he's not able to get that last bit of damage twice in a row as the Triumph proc comes on through and saves for sure. Maybe if he'd crit, and this man almost has like a 100% crit chance for absolutely free. I have no idea what his stacks are at, but I'm assuming they're getting up there.
What is it with Mythos and Ezreal's? Like, what's the damage? Oh, we do see it's 77 stacks right now, so 78 now, but getting towards that 100, you said it would be around the 25-minute mark, maybe a little bit slower than we predicted, but G2 Liam not having the best time, I think it's fair to say, in this game. We saw the 1v1 pretty much from the marksman there, and he was free shot by Chryslip. So, not the optimal position to be in if you are Senna.
It's not great. Daiku, vibing, smelling some roses just outside the bush, you know.
It's not
exactly.
Subtle.
This is a man who has rolled a natural 1 on his perception check and been told by the DM, you believe yourself to be incredibly well disguised.
Well, that's stealth, not perception.
Oh, you know what? I'm nerd. Right.
You're the one who brought the reference up, but you got it wrong.
Low perception because you couldn't perceive himself not being stealthed.
No, missed me with that. No. It would have been 0 perception if Gangplank had just walked past him and died. That's the low perception. Right there, I mean, but Curly Fry was fine. Just wandered away.
If only Gangplank had dark vision. Will, did I tell you I have dark vision?
No,
Will.
Didn't, but
do you remember when we did when we were doing our campaign and
yeah, literally
every time we walk into a cave, which was quite frequent. Yeah. Will, I have dark vision. Will,
and it was like great. You can see in here, like
pure comedy. It's like great. You see half an empty cave.
Yeah, it was. There's a reason that campaign isn't going on anymore. But we're in this game right now. Stories from Harry and Will's epic adventures will resume.
Well, they'll resume. I mean, honestly, we could go for another minute and 40 seconds whilst we wait for this Drake to spawn. Because not really a lot Mythos can do. They can... It is the spooky third Drake. They can't really push through. Baron, not really an option quite just yet because you have Ezreal. Diana, though, does do a fair bit of damage to it. Fiora likewise, but she's splitting away in the bot lane. So we just wait for dragons and barons, and no team can ever really siege without either of those.
So it's just a case of waiting for these objectives, right? Is there any way that... Okay, so Peak... What's Peak's job here? Because they know that Mythos can't really do all that much until these dragons come up. Do Peak just bide their time and hope for a fight? Or are they meant to be doing something right now?
Well, they are allegedly scaling.
Okay.
Which is always nice.
You use allegedly. What's alleged about? Oh, actually, we're going to see Lawa getting stunned up. A lot of damage coming through, but the Syndra burst directly into the Braum.
But see, that's what's alleged about it, is that it doesn't really matter how much Alco Vandy scales, how big he gets. He can have 1k AP. It doesn't matter. He's versus a Braum, right?
Yeah.
So that one's always pretty spooky. Likewise, Curly Fry is scaling up in the bot lane, but he's matching against a Fiora. He will eventually outscale in terms of teamfight use, but again, there is a point where the Fiora is just going to straight run him down. Realistically, that point is kind of now, but Daiku, maybe a little bit spooked, doesn't want to commit too hard, because dying there could cost something like a Drake or a Baron, so just playing a little bit safe. Maybe safer than he should, but fine. No harm, no foul. And then you have Liam, who is allegedly scaling with the souls, and yes, outscales an Ezreal, but is also not performing spectacularly in the team fights, as we are about to see as this man goes out into the river very alone and very out of the range of the Thresh Lantern, but looks like he's not going to be punished too hard for that one.
Members of Mythos aren't really there, though, so... Yeah, there's Chryslip and Lawai, but Lawai wasn't in range to get anything going, and now it looks like Mythos are moving down. This is the scary third Drake for both teams, and Lawai has to hop away. It's going to be started up pretty instantly by Mythos, but you've got to imagine there will be a contest of some sort from
my god.
And the steal coming in from Real Vega, who's going to be able to use the Cataclysm, still has the Flag and Drag to try and get out, and he will be able to do so. Nice play there, but the fight is continuing behind the pit. Alkavangi gets the first kill of the fight, but now Chryslip's going to be putting the damage down. There are tanky members to keep him alive, and Warmotlight gets away on a sliver of health. Curly Fry has got the second kill of the fight, and this is going the way of Peak. They're looking to clean up, and they do it! They get the full ace off the dragon. Baron is surely on the menu, and Peak have turned this one on its head.
How? There's a lovely they get the steal. Brilliant. Vega gets out. Brilliant. You've got what you came for. And then Myth were like, well, we need to get something here. Great dive from Patet Salat. Goes a little downhill when he hits the one-man ult in the middle of 4 people. And then everyone just sort of keeps on running in the controversial one-at-a-time strat. Peak all living on minuscule amounts of health. Nice. And they're able to go ahead and get the Baron off the back of it. I'd love to see a replay on that one because that was so close. And you look so many times, there's like a big AoE goes through and someone's just on like 100 health or less. And people just not going down. But here we are. All right. So somehow there is a big steal from Vega getting his revenge on earlier. You see, this one's just pretty cheeky started up. Lots of deeps coming on through. Vega, flash, smite that. Nice little cataclysm to keep Foreshore locked in. Just group people up inside that combo. Inside the ult, whatever. Here it is. That was the one-man ult from Patet Salat. Imagine if he had ult now, you know? He goes and he gets the one-man ult. It's not really enough. Daiku now thinks, well, I have to do something because Patet Salat is dead and dashes on in to 4 people, one at a time. It's not great. Lovely chain CC coming through there. And then Chryslip goes, well, they've both died. It's up to me. Shifts into 4 people, dies. It's a bit of something repetitive going on here, you know, but it's good to see that everyone's on the same page about what they should be doing in these team fights, even if it is very much going in alone. But I think even if they hadn't, it was so close that there would have been opportunity for Peak to then get something just off the back of it with so many low health bars.
And now the game is very firmly in Peak's court. They've got the scary third dragon, they've got the Baron buff, and they're pushing towards mid. We even saw in the bot lane, Daiku not having the best time against the Gangplank right now. There's going to be the mid tower being broken open for Peak, and they've got... Yes, they haven't got any towers anywhere else, but that's kind of just freestanding gold, right? Top and bot, you should be able to break quite easily. We see the Fiora on the bot side trying to defend against the Gangplank, but there's a lot that Peak can take here.
Like, Daiku should really be able to hard force right now, because there's no Syrax up and he has the ult. The thing is, if you're against the Gangplank and you let him poke you down with barrels, you let him Q you, you're going to have a rough time. But even if he's sitting on top of his barrels, you just ult Q in. If he procs the barrel, you parry it, you're going to slow him, which is going to get rid of his movement speed boost, or kind of negate it. You're not going to get slowed yourself, and then you have the move speed buff from the ult. You can continue to run him down. Daiku is really scared to look for the all-in. I'm not 100% sure why. Yes, there's teleports available for Liam, but like, okay, you know, I wouldn't be too spooked about the potential collapse from that one. And when you can see their whole squad pushing in on sort of top half of your map, I think it's pretty safe to look for that all-in. So maybe Daiku's just waiting for just one more item before he wants to start running it down when he gets the Death Stance. But now Curly Fry has actually started to pick up some crit. He's finished off that Essence Reaver, and it gets a lot scarier for Daiku, who I think up until now was in a pretty good situation.
And with the Baron buffer as well, I guess you don't want to be fighting in a minion wave because that's not the best time. Obviously, Peak have Baron on 4, one more light falling down in the fight after Dragon wasn't able to grab that one, but you're kind of fine with that as the support. He's going to be with other people anyway. There's not a split pushing fresh. That's not really on the cards, and Peak have found their way firmly back into this game. We talked about them not being that far behind. They're now ahead by like 2k gold, and Baron buff has now run out, but they took so many objectives outside of Mythos' base. They're now in a good position to go on and grab this 4th dragon, grab the soul for themselves, and at that point, the chances for Mythos look very, very slim.
Yeah, if this 4th Drake goes down, it gets kind of rough. Again, this is an Ocean Dragon Soul, so it's not that terrifying. Like, it's really good, but it's probably one of the best souls, but it's... Like, if you're against Infernal Soul, for example, you get hit by, like, a Rogue Syndra Q, 80% of your health is gone, you know? Yeah. And then you get very scared when it comes to things like sieging. The way that this one works is that even if you're sieging, even if you're losing the siege, you can just go off and you'll have, like, that health regen coming through. So it's not as, like, blatant how spooky it is, but as long as Peak is sort of aware of that, aware of the actual strengths that do lie within that soul, they should be able to start sieging things down. But meanwhile, Daiku is splitting up in the top lane.
Isbling has now been answered by Curly Fry to get the tower beforehand. A decent chunk coming out from Chryslip on the Ezreal, but this is going to be the dragon started up instantly by Peak, but they've moved away into the bush. They're trying to bait something out. They want this fight. Ezreal trying to just poke away. Daiku coming in from behind as well. The teleport comes in bot from Curly Fry. This could be a full 5v5, and the dragon, whoever can take this one, it's going to be so crucial. It has reset. Diana's up on the side, potentially looking for something up there, but not going to be able to, as Now the Dragon's going very, very low. It's being
Diana.
engaged on it. It's going to be stolen away by the Brom's. Diana's gone into the back where has to go golden, going down instantly. But Brom's able to pick up one himself. It's currently a 1-for-1 fight, but it looks like Peak are the ones chasing forward. They haven't actually lost someone yet, and now 2 have fallen from Mythos. They got the Dragon, but they need to get out because 5 members of Peak can push towards their base.
Oh, lordy lord. They did manage to get the steal through in the end. But yep, 5 versus 3 there. I had big hopes for Tetsuo out there. 4 people bunched up on top of each other. 2 item Diana has the flash, has the ult, isn't able to make it happen. He goes on in and just like Chrislep
goes
does.
for the ultimate, which roots him in place and he goes down.
Yeah, just exactly the same as Diana. Hard CC'd, immediately burst down by 5 members. They're going to pick up the tower, and now moving forward onto the inhibitor. It's going to be all they can get. Although they do have a wave coming on in. They don't have the Baron. They might look to try and end the game, but this could be risky.
Still got 5 members with the wave, as you say. Going to be cleared out reasonably okay. There are 4 members here from Mythos. Will they look for a fight? Double knock up there from the Java. We'll start this one off. Resurrection already coming down as Curly Fry gets the first kill. This gangplank has really come online, but Alchemy will fall. Daiku stays alive for a second before falling, and Laowai will ultimately fall as well. Not able to get out of that one. Shields the wrong way, and for sure, the last man standing for Mythos. Peak could well look to take the game here. They've still got 4 members up. The minions are crashing in. Still no supers yet, but this is looking excellent for Peak.
Yeah, it's only Chrislep and Foreshore available. Not the most wave clear in the world. Tower going down pretty fast, and the supers will join soon, but it looks like Mythos have been able to defend this. They're able to hold, but the Baron is on the table for Peak.
Moving down towards the Dragon area. It doesn't look like Peak are moving immediately for Baron, but
Now they need to reset. They've got too much moolah.
they've got money, and this could well set them up for the Baron play, right? Like, right now, Peak are winning these fights very convincingly, and one more is all it takes. Because the Nexus Towers, one of them's very low. Teleport's coming in. It doesn't look like Mythos want to go down
it's
without
double
a fight.
TP. They're just going to try rush it.
The resets have come through, and it looks like they're just going to go for it immediately, and here comes the back cannon barrage. Olaf's really, really low. Takes the ult from the center
He's
as well.
smited for health.
Stay alive, but there's no smite coming in. Real Vega might be too slow, but is looking to get into the area. The fight has already kicked off. Forshore's gone away, but it's going to be taken low, going to be taken
Olaf's
out.
alive!
No, still alive, and he's healing so much. They will be able to pick up a kill on the side, but the Baron will fall. It's going to be on 4 members of Mythos, as they're going to be trying to get out of the pit alive. Olaf gets out, but the rest of the team is still fighting away. Chrislep and Braum even are going to be able to jump out the back of the pit as well. So 3 members of Mythos pick up Baron. They lose 2 in the fight, but so do Peak.
It's an even fight. They're able to get the Baron, and vitally, Foreshore is able to get out and defend the base. Liam has TP. If the Foreshore was not able to get out there, that could have been so dangerous. Even without having the smite up, Foreshore is able to secure that Baron. That was so clutch, but it was exactly what Mythos needed to get back into this game. You're against a center with 120 souls, not even have the rapid fire can yet, and she's still one-shotting people from halfway across the map. So to make sure that you can just defend the game now, to get back and stop the supers, to stop Peak getting the Baron, vital for Mythos to stay with a fighting chance in this game, as the Dragon spawns in 1 minute and 30 seconds with both teams on 3 shards.
This game is tight, you know. Or for our first game of the day, we've had a real stomper because so many objectives being taken, and all these fights are super close. I mean, look at this.
Okay, so he gets so low, smites for health. The whole time just lifestealing up. Let's see just how low Foreshore gets, because this is ridiculous. Chrislep and Daiku, hard smurfing right here. Liam, not in the fight at all, but it doesn't really matter because he has 12,000 range. Curly Fry goes down. Curly Fry is so much damage for the team right now as the gangplank, and then bam, Guardian saves his life. This Braum pick is absolutely massive in this game, and just emphasizing there what I meant about the Olaf Braum being so good together, because the Braum can save the Olaf like that, keep him alive. Olaf manages to get out with the recall at the back of the pit. It doesn't matter that Daiku's gone down. Olaf is there to save the minions in the base, and honestly, if I had to pick one thing in this draft that stood out the most to me, as the game changer, it's 100% this Braum. You see there how it saves Foreshore. It gives you that nice and safe bot lane that they were looking for to emphasize the way they wanted to play this comp, and it completely negates the first pick Senna from Peak. So Laowai doing a sick job as the Braum in this game. Foreshore, I have no idea at what point if that was skill or not, but actually Foreshore chunked out quite a bit.
Takes a lot of damage there. Forced the Ragnarok away. And Dragon's up. Dragon is coming up in 5 seconds. For sure.
Daiku?
Very low. Daiku looking to get the split push on. There's no one recalling for this. They just want to get for the soul. But Inhibitor topside is going down. Remember, Fiora does not have Baron buffs, so the minions are not helping all that much. But that's the only one to contest. The soul has been taken up. Can they stop the ports? Teleporting coming back in the pit, but the fight is kicking off. They've already managed to take down one, and it looks like there's going to be a fight kicking off. But Daiku looking to end. Cauliflower has now gone back. Petetsalat trying to keep the rest of the members down. As Chrysler and Lawai also trying to do the same, but Petetsalat will be going down. G2 Liam falls. Well, G2 Liam takes the kill, but now Cauliflower needs to be very careful. Daiku doing a lot of damage in the base, but there's a huge mini wave, and he hasn't got one of his own. The fight is still going on, though, as Chrysler is coming back very, very well. Lawai taking a whole heap of damage, able to stay alive, jumping back as well, but looks like there are going to be enough members back to stop Daiku getting anything in terms of Nexus towers, but ultimately, the big takeaway is Peak do pick up the soul. Baron has now timed out. They're back in the driving seat.
My big takeaway is that Joe is smurfing. That split screen was lit.
Clean
nice one. Production pog. But Daiku not able to get enough because he doesn't have the wave. Cauliflower able to crit his way with the barrels, clear out the wave, stop Daiku from getting too much, though he does manage to take down that inhibitor, which is huge. That will be drawing members down whilst we wait for the Elder to spawn. I think that the Elder is going to spawn just late enough that there might not actually be a wave. The inhib down for 5 minutes, the Elder takes 5 minutes to spawn, so there might be supers coming on in because it takes a long time for the creeps to walk around. That's going to be really interesting to see. Let's look at this. Extra range, 175. I feel like that's too low, but like at the same time, it's an obscene amount because what does she have? She has like 550 base or something like that. So she's like outranging Caitlyn at this point. Now has the rapid fire cannon and 100% crit. So you're getting free lifesteal as well. This Senna is absolutely huge. Keep an eye on how much damage she's doing. It has not looked great all game, but this is the part where you're really going to start to see that she's coming online. Likewise, the Ezreal is starting to fall off a little bit, but because he got so fed early, he's still very much relevant in the match. So a good Ezreal can really change the tides of a team fight. But right now, it looks like Peak are just trying to shove on in the mid lane and see if they can take this inhib once again. There is very little wave clear on the side of Mythos, so I don't think there's a lot that they can do to stop it, but they might give it a go anyway. Big chunk from the Ezreal. As Fiora fights bot.
In the bot side, Fiora doing a lot of damage to the game, like he does go golden. But the heal does come through. It looks like he might want to look for the engagement. The fight in the top side is massive. The nice Cataclysm there. Cauliflower actually doing pretty well into Daiku. I'm watching this fight right now because Daiku is going to be able to grab the kill. But in the base, it looks like this fight is also going the way of Mythos. They've got members alive. People are going low. And Diana is still in the backline. Does get cut down after taking down one. But Daiku, he's just going for the game. Can they stop the ports coming through? Teleport will come down. Don't know if they're going to be able to stop the Senna from coming through. They won't be able to. Senna's coming down. But Daiku, one more auto, will get the stun. Will get the kill and will take the first tower. He has not got a big wave, but will be able to grab the second. He's on the Nexus. Members of Peak are not going to be able to get there, and Daiku for Mythos will take game 4 of the UKEL.
Oh, backdoor! I was sweating when that teleport went through. 3 stacks on the Braum passive. They don't cancel the TP. I'm thinking for sure, why are you using your E? That's time you could have spent getting an auto through and landing the stun. But then it's still like a 20% health Liam that comes through the TP. Daiku's like, yeah, that's fine with me. One bangs him and moves on through to the Nexus to secure that game with the backdoor. Holy moly. The soul didn't matter in the end anyway, lads. After all that, 6 dragons in, 7 dragons. And it didn't matter at all. Daiku ending the game in true Fiora fashion.
The thing that was really crucial in that last bit for me is that the Senna teleported away with 3 stacks of stun on him. So Daiku could just Q forward, auto, and the Senna was dead. Which, honestly, crazy. All I'm saying is that I do know how to pick him. I predicted Mythos to win this game. Honestly, kind of smurfing because I was so worried for large portions of that late game. But then Daiku knows it's because, Mythos PayPal. I got you. But such a close game, such an amazing game. Like, it was a nail biter. It looked like Mythos had it in the early game, but then Peak really coming back. Mistakes being made on both sides, but big plays also being made. So it wasn't just kind of a case of throwing the game back and forward. Like, big clutch decisions and plays were being made, and you could see why these two teams were in top 4, and I guess still are in top 4. But Mythos, man, they're looking really, really good.
Oh, like we can't describe how close that was as well. Because if you look to the 1v1 with Daiku versus the Gangplank, what happens is that he goes to hit, he's under tower, goes to hit the Vital, misses and hits for side. Flashes to get out of the tower range and proc the Vital. Once again, misses and hits for side. And this is on like 100 health. So you think maybe there's some crit RNG involved there somehow for the Gangplank as well. It was so close, but he's able to just get that auto through, which procs the Vital, gives the huge heal, and he's able to then secure the kill onto Gangplank and look for the back door. And I feel like, God, this game was something. There was so much back and forth, and even though they won, I kind of question with Diana pick as well from Mythos, because there was so many chances I thought the Protect Slat could pure 1v5 a fight. Yeah, like at that Dragon, the third Drake for Peak, I think it was. And in that final fight, it looked good. The fight before that as well, chances for a big Diana ult to come through in 1v5, and it never really happened. It just sort of seemed to jump into 5 people, get hooked, and die immediately. It's not as patient as maybe it could have been. And also, the Braum pick in this was absolutely huge. For Mythos, allows to, like I said so many times, enable the Braum and negate the Syndra, which makes me wonder about the Syndra pick. This was a first pick. Just blind Syndra from Peak. That's the thing. They went into a chat stack saying, this is the most important thing in the game for us. You know, we don't need Aphelios or anything. We need to get Syndra onto Alco over Andy. And it just gets countered immediately in the first rotation. And then, even though Andy got a lot of kills early on, there's not really a lot he can do throughout the course of the game.
I'm going to have to ask you the big question before we go to a break. Is MVP for that game? Daiku is a big, obvious candidate, but there were other members of Mythos who did really well. Do you think it does go to that Fiora just on the amount of split pushing and the end as well? Or is there an argument made for the Ezreal, for the Braum? Even, I mean, the Diana and Olaf had good plays and bad plays, but everyone on Mythos was doing really well. But if you had to pick one player to give that MVP award to, who would it be?
Oh, it's rough. It's obviously Daiku, like, ended the game, right? But yeah. I kind of feel like Daiku was playing really insecure. Like, I think there were a lot of chances for Daiku to run down the Gangplank. Like, I'm not a Fiora one trick, but from what I've seen of that matchup, I feel like he had a lot more opportunity to take the game. There were so many times that Lauai